I think that's it. Welcome everybody. Alexander Beetles.
Welcome everybody to a very special evening. Whether this is your first time in the galleries, I'm sure there are some who've chosen an excellent day for the very first time. It's like it to be this busy every time, but it's not always. Whether, as I'm sure there are a lot of people who have been here since the very beginning, whether the people have been here since the very beginning, predating me, and I'm sure there are some people who remember.
Turn the aircon off.
People here from that side? I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who remember when I was coming to these exhibitions as a child and running around putting red spots on everything.
That's my boy.
All these years later, and I'm still running around trying to put red spots on everything. But however long your association with the gallery has been, I just wanted to say thank you for all of your support and in so many cases friendship over the years. It's hugely appreciated, and seeing all these familiar faces is what makes the place what it is, so thank you. My job here is to introduce our special guest, though he's a familiar face around here. Over the years he's been one of the biggest supporters, greatest cheerleaders and closest friend to the gallery. So I'd like to welcome Jeffrey Archer.
Good evening. May I welcome you to the largest gathering of conservatives I've seen since the general election began. I thought I'd start with a few words about national service and move on to the triple lock. And looking at you lot, you look more interested in the triple lock.
Well, we're not going to do our national service. Not tonight.
I'm very sorry. I thought I'd take this opportunity to tell you about my latest book, Traitor's Gate, which is the story of a man who decides to steal the crown jewel.
Jeffrey.
The Chris Beetles Summer Show, 40th anniversary. At 6:30, Jeffrey Archer will congratulate Chris Beetles. I don't think so. Chris and I first met in 1986 when we were judging a competition for the Royal Watercolour Society. He was chosen as an aficionado. I was chosen simply as a collector. And I have to tell you that the judging panel treated me very badly indeed. Condescension, haughty disdain, and silence from my fellow judges. I'll try that again. And silence. When the People's Choice arose, I was finally allowed to give an opinion. And I chose an artist who went on to win the most popular picture in the entire show. Her name was Geraldine Gervin. Many of you, yes, quite right, many of you will know. And Chris immediately gave her a one-woman show and took me out to lunch. 2,000 lunches later, here we are And it gives me an opportunity to thank you, Christopher, on behalf of all of us here, for introducing us to your world and giving us so much pleasure. Chris introduced me to Albert Goodwin, S.R. Badmin, Brabazon, and more recently, Melissa Scott Miller. His erudite knowledge and wisdom have allowed me to build a collection, which has turned out to be a sound investment, as well as giving Mary and myself so much pleasure over the years. I suspect it's the same for many of you here tonight. However, not everyone is an admirer of Christopher's. On one occasion, when we were travelling to Rome with a friend of ours called Simon, who is among us this evening, and we got off the plane and headed for customs, the police immediately took Chris on one side and asked him if he was breaking regulations by carrying more than £10,000. To which he said to the authority, looking at me, "It's more likely to be him." Tonight we come together to celebrate 40 years of the summer show, which has become, frankly, part of the London calendar. And I would suggest, with works by artists such as Bernard Dunstan, Miles Burkitt Foster, and dare I say, Christopher, Geraldine Gervin, worth celebrating. Chris's other rare ability is to build around him an amazing team that includes Alison, Fiona, Phoebe, Pascal, Carol, and of course, Alexander, his son. However, should you take a close look at Alexander, you may not be altogether convinced that he is his son. He's tall, dark, handsome, gentle, considerate, and never raises his voice. However, one thing he, Carol, and Alexander have in common is a sad thing I must share with you. That they support 11 pathetic individuals known as Tottenham Hotspur. As an Arsenal supporter, I have been able to show him over the years that we always come ahead of them, as we have again this year. He's a dear friend to all of us, and he's much respected throughout this great city as one of the leading art dealers in the country. And we're delighted to celebrate his 40th year. So I ask you to raise a glass to this remarkable man who celebrates 40 outstanding years. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a standing ovation for the one and only, thank God, Christopher Beetles.
The DNA tests are due this week. Now let me tell you about this man. I got on to something more important. This is a man who, yes, friendship, 38 years, you missed the best two. This is a man who's given me friendship, but he's also given me the most important support, which is moral support. There are good times and bad times in art dealing. There are vicissitudes, which is a difficult time. In fact, it's a difficult word to say, vicissitude. But in good times and bad times, this man is a rock. In bad times, he just gets on with it. He said, don't worry about that, it'll be all right, you'll be okay, it'll be fine. So I feel better about every recession, thanks to this man. In good times, he's the same. It's great, fantastic, everything is good. He encourages me, he rejoices in the success of the gallery. This is a proper supporter. Now, it's always been a little bit of speculation as to the funding of this gallery. In the 70s and 80s, when I came in like Attila the Hun, the London trade started speculating that I was backed by Nigerian oil gangsters. I didn't know there were any oil in Nigeria, and certainly the London trade would know a gangster when they saw one. But at that time, Geoffrey was always at my side, encouraging me in the early days. But I have to say that there's never been any money exchanging hands between Geoffrey and myself. And if he ever asked for a loan, I would have turned him down. Now let's get on to something more serious than Geoffrey. I've got the best job in the world. I've had it for 40 years in this place. It is not really like a job outside a recession. I deal in the stuff that I collect and I love. I have a wonderful life. But most of all, I meet wonderful people. I've met thousands of people, and I've made great clients and great friends in all that time. They're sparky, intelligent, witty, bright, enthusiastic, life-enhancing, lovers of art. And I'm sorry they couldn't come tonight. No, I thank you all very much. I thank you for coming to over 400 exhibitions. I thank you for buying the literature and all the books, and some of you shoplifting them. I thank you for that. I am glad that you have appreciated our literature, as museums and libraries all over the world do. They subscribe to it. We have subscribers all over the world. We have some surprising subscribers. For many years now, what's the name of Trump's anyway, that woman, don't judge.
Stormy Daniels!
Yes! She's been a subscriber for years. And further distinction for our literature was that the Century of British Art Volume 2 was recently, in a rolled-up fashion, applied to the buttocks of the next one. Now, she would also, and she does, appreciate the gallery artists, because you need that vitality. It's all right having dead artists, but you need the refreshment and dynamism of a living artist. Now, we've got about 50, and they enhance my life, and I love them for it. There's a few of them here tonight. The first ever, where is Leslie? Leslie Fogarty. We met in the 70s, and she's stuck with me ever since. Leslie, you're versatile and wonderful as ever, and your 4 seasons there make me feel happy. Val Archer, close on her heels, is here. You're a genius. Where are you? Of the still life. Actually, usually I only use, in the illustrators, I only use the word genius for Peter Cross, and Peter Cross is here tonight. Michael Foreman is here tonight, who I regard now as the best active children's book illustrator in the world. Melissa Scott Miller is the last. She's just joined us, and she adds hugely to all that we do. Paul Cox, been with me forever, the best and the most prolific illustrator in the country. I thank you all for that.
Patrick Cullen.
I mean,
I apologise. When I wrote the speech, the words were in there.
If you stick with it, you know. But Patrick's show, which we're ahead of ourselves, is on the other side, and it's very good. The second, and it's good to have you on board, Patrick. Now, none of this can happen without a gallery team. There's been a lot of them over the years, about 50, 100 have gone through. And I like to keep in touch. They're in long apprenticeships, I keep in touch. And I visit them regularly in sanatoria up and down the country. I can't say that. Let's get on to the present. Let's get on to the present team, which I think is the best ever. Now, I've got a crib sheet here, because if I missed one, I'd be in real trouble. Carol. Person secretary. Great cook, dog walker, saint. Alexander, who pretty much runs the place now, because he's bigger and smarter than I am. Pascal, my pre-Raphaelite beauty, who is gallery manager and runs it with a rod of iron. Vicious and nasty she is. And Coco the dog, who sleeps. Phoebe B, who zips about with amazing efficiency and is the Instagram queen. And Phoebe Ross, who's leaving us. The fantastic hangings that we all have here, that's Phoebe Ross. So a little extra round of applause. Louisa in accounts, the accounts monitor, a magician who makes chocolate biscuits disappear. Jules has officially left us, but he's still conjuring tricks from afar. Julia, our new master photographer. Finn, the master framer, who's bringing great craft to the framing. And lastly, and especially, to Fiona and Alison, who without their eye and without their flair, they would be from the beginning, this gallery wouldn't be what it is. This gallery is their gallery. And it's also yours. To all my friends, to all my clients, to Jeffrey, to all the gallery artists, to Alexander. Thank you very much. And here's to another 40 years. Now, just as a little postscript before I go, if you hang around, you'll get this horror over here. This terrible looking thing over here is a present from all the gallery to me. The best thing you can do is cut it up quickly and eat it. I'm sure it's going to taste better than it looks. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for the 40 years, and I hope another 40.